Hello there, and welcome to the Marketing SOS Show. I'm your host, Eric E., and if this is your first time tuning to the show, thank you so much for listening in. This is a show where I help people like you in the audience with whatever marketing questions that you have. It could be small business questions, student questions, or, you're a career marketer who just wants an unbiased opinion outside your company. I'm here to help you with whatever you got. Use my background and experience to help you answer it. So please drop me a line at eric@marketingsos.ca. I am here for you, just like today's question from Charlene, who looks like she wants to dabble in the dark side of SEO. SEO being search engine optimization, which is essentially making your website appeal to search engines, so search engines rank it higher, and that way more customers and visitors find your website, engage with your content, and hopefully make you more money. So Charlene's question used to be standard practice way back in the day, and now is definitely frowned upon. So she has a question about PBN networks. And if you don't know what that is, I guess you'll have to stay tuned after this and find out what it is. So Charlene writes, "Hi Eric, I have one query related to the right conception of PBN networks. If I build like 3 or 4 websites/properties on different Web 2.0 platforms, example WordPress, Google Sites, MyStrikely, etc., publishing some specialized niche-related stuff, including a piece of original content with one backlink referring to my money site, will this be considered a PBN that's subject to Google's penalty? And if not, what's really meant by a PBN that's targeted by Google Penguin algorithms? Looking for any advice you have. Thanks in advance, Charlene." So, Charlene, to give the audience a little background, PBN networks are a network of websites, some owned by the same person, but often there are numerous site operators involved that create content and link to each other's websites. The thought process here is the concept of the rising tide raising all ships. Showing that your site is being linked to a lot will increase your site's authority, and theoretically you'll rank better in Google. Now that your website is ranked better, the sites you link to will get more juice, or put differently, now that your site has some authority, its opinions matter more, and if you link to another site, it must have good content, so they'll get a boost from Google too. So everyone in the network mutually benefits from this when everyone succeeds. These networks worked really well back in the day, but Google and its algorithms, like you mentioned Penguin, have gotten better at detecting them and consider them a manipulation of its terms of service. If they catch on to you, it can negatively impact your website's rankings. Charlene, I wouldn't advise going down this route at all, as it could impact the money site you talk about. Instead, I'd build relationships on other websites, doing guest blogging, or create stellar content that they will want to link to. This is more organic and won't get you penalized if you get caught. Now, the other question I have is, if you're trying to build authority to your main site, and you're having trouble doing it right now, which is why you want to do this, what makes you think you'll be able to build up these networks of sites to the point where they'll actually be valuable and have an impact on your money site? If you're resorting to this to build up your money site, it begs the question if the sites in this PBN network will ever be grown to the point where they'll be valuable. More simply, if you can't improve your SEO on the first site, how will you do it for the others? I think the best use of your time is to focus on building your organic backlinks to your money site instead of trying to manipulate the system. It's a lot of time and effort to do this, and it poses a big risk as well. So Charlene, my apologies for not directly answering your question, but PBN networks could backfire on you. Now, if you did have multiple sites in the space in different verticals that occasionally link to one another while linking to other places as well, that might be okay because you're delivering different value for different audiences with the occasional link back when it makes sense. But the way that you're building it here, in that they're solely based upon linking to your money site, I think you will attract the attention of the Google algorithm, and you might get a manual strike down for that, which is someone at Google actually seeing an alert and going and penalizing your site, like an actual person pressing the button and doing that. So I don't recommend it. I don't think you should do it. I think you should focus on connecting with others in your space and building organic backlinks that way. This is where you get into the white hat versus black hat SEO. Black hat being, some of the quote-unquote unethical or dangerous things that might pose a risk to you by doing. But they might have great results as well. But usually, honestly, the most sustainable way to do this is to do those white hat techniques, spend the time and actually build those things up. If you're looking at building a money site that's going to be fruitful for years, don't go down the PBN network route. And if you're looking for just to catch lightning in a bottle and make some quick cash off of it, the black hat techniques, the PBN networks might work for you, but I definitely don't advise you or any of my clients to ever do that. So for anyone else out there listening that has some SEO services, maybe it's time to do an audit and see how they are building you SEO authority. Because if they're doing those black hat techniques like Charlene mentioned with the PBN networks, you might not be doing it yourself, but your company and might be doing it for all its clients, your SEO company might be doing it for all its clients, and that could negatively impact you at the end. So always ask for an audit of what they're doing and the results, just to make sure that you cross your I's and dot your T's to make sure your site suddenly doesn't get penalized and that they drop to the bottom of Google rankings. So Charlene, thank you again for that question. Thank you everyone for listening. And if you could leave this show a ratings and review, whatever podcast player you listen to, it only takes like 20 seconds. So I would really appreciate it if you did, just because it helps me grow the show and get exposed to a new audience. So that'd be amazing if you could. And if you have a question for me, I would love to hear you and love to help you in whatever way I can. So drop me a line at eric@marketingsos.ca, and I could answer your question on an upcoming episode of the show. So with that, thank you again so much for listening. My name is Eric Yee, and I am out.